gentlemen, welcome to the 2023 Martin Luther King celebration, We Are Martin. Please stand for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
That was performed by Consuela Watts. Ladies and gentlemen, the award-winning Jeremy Winston Chorale performing the Negro National Anthem.
Every voice and sing.
Welcome Reverend Ann E. Dursey, Deacon and Minister for Community Engagement, St. John's Norwood Episcopal Church. Rajwant Singh, Rabbi Abigail Sharosky, Imam Faisal Khan, and Bishop Paul Walker with words of peace, followed by Mr. Jim Stowe, Director of the Office of Montgomery County Human Rights.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm delighted to participate in this wonderful celebration today. Welcome, everyone. Our esteemed friend and colleague, the Reverend Jim Stowe, asked the faith leaders to talk briefly about one attribute from the extraordinary life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one attribute that we can emulate to make our community and our world a better place as he did. That was a challenge. But if there is one characteristic that I think is particularly important today in the life of our nation at this time that we can emulate from Dr. King, it is to be a prophetic voice for change. And I mean a prophetic voice not in the popular sense of fortune-telling or predicting the future. I mean a prophetic voice in the true biblical sense of the word, which means two things. First, a prophet, like Dr. King, must have the perspicacity and the courage to look around our world, see what is deeply wrong, and stand up and name it. To speak out long and loud, no matter what the cost. Our presiding bishop, the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, Michael Curry, our first African-American bishop, always reminds us that truth-telling is the first step, the first essential step towards change. And the Episcopal Church is committed to naming and repenting of our complicity in racial injustice and to repairing the harm that was done. The National Episcopal Church, the Diocese of Maryland and Washington, D.C., our own church right here in Bethesda, and so many others are now in the process of discovering and uncovering and naming and acknowledging the injustice we did in order to get us on the path to change. And we are committed to that truth-telling and repair. But secondly, a prophet needs to have the vision to call for an alternative reality. The fulfillment of God's intention for the world, which is shalom. Shalom meaning peace and justice and abundant thriving for all. Understanding, as Dr. King did, that no one of us ever truly thrives unless everyone thrives. Naming that vision, setting that goal, that's how the prophet, like Dr. King, inspires hope in the people and empowers them to never tire in working to achieve the vision. We are committed to working for this change, to bring shalom for all. And Dr. King's lifetime of courageously articulating the evils of racism, segregation, poverty, and violence, in which he unflinchingly challenged an unjust status quo while holding out the beautiful vision of the beloved community. This set us on the path to change. He was a prophet, and we need prophets like him today. There is still so much work we must do. So in closing, I will say one thing. I hope that all of us here will have the courage and the commitment this year to be prophets, just as Dr. King was a prophet, to call out every injustice in our county and our country, and to inspire the hope and lead the change that will transform us, just as Dr. King so passionately envisioned. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ann. Good afternoon. How are you all doing? Happy birthday to Reverend Martin Luther King. I represent the Sikh community here in Washington, D.C. area. The Sikhism is the 5th largest religion. It has 30 million adherents or followers all around the world, and there are about 25,000 Sikhs who live in the Washington area. And when you see somebody wearing a turban, you will know that they belong to the Sikh community. Just as Martin Luther King said, don't judge people by the color of their skin. Do not judge Sikhs by the color of their turban. And the color of the turban that I'm wearing today represents freedom, liberation. And I purposely wore this turban to give this message that we stand for freedom for all. We stand for justice for all. We stand for human rights for all. Our founder, Guru Nanak, 550 years ago, gave a wonderful message, and I would like to sing that message. Aisa gyan japo man mere, aisa gyan japo man mere, ho wo chakar साचे के रे, हो वो चाकर साचे के रे, हम नहीं चंगे बुरा नहीं कोई, प्रणवत नानक तारे सोए, प्रणवत नानक तारे सोए. Guru Nanak says that education, all your learning and your religion should make you a kind person, a benevolent person, a helpful person, a person who reflects and spreads love. And if you're not doing that, then don't claim yourself to be an educated person or a religious person. Just as Martin Luther King struggled not just for African American community, not only for black people, he struggled for every American. And the very reason the immigrants who are here, who call this country as their home, many of us are sitting here, we need to have a deeper gratitude for all the struggles that the black community went through to create the Civil Rights Act, that we could enjoy the freedom and the right to vote in this country. So I want to salute all the black community stalwarts and the freedom fighters who fought for all Americans, and we need to always be having a gratitude for them. One of the things which Guru Nanak also emphasized, that each one of us have a divine plan. We have been sent in this world with a special purpose. We should never allow anyone to tell us that we are inferior, or we don't belong in this country, or we don't belong in this world. We have been sent here by God Almighty, the one who created this entire universe. No one has the right to tell anyone in this country or anywhere in the world that they are inferior, or their skin color makes them less of a human being. We are all created by God Almighty. So, at the end, I would like to bring a message of love from the Sikh community. Since pandemic began, we started serving food to citizens of Montgomery County. On March 14th, when the country closed, we opened our kitchen and we started serving food, 500 meals every day, to many shelters here, women's shelter, youth shelter, senior citizen shelter. And I want to report to you that today we have completed 400,000 meals since March 2020. And all of the meals are prepared by volunteers. If anyone would like to come and join us in cooking food, but you will have to have a loving feeling. You have to have that sense that you are serving your own family. You're not serving somebody who is deprived or a poor or somebody that we judge them to be of a lesser of a person. We need to treat everyone as they are our family members. So every meal is cooked with a lot of love and dedication. So we want to thank the Montgomery County for giving us the opportunity to be coming together and also have a sense of love and sense of togetherness. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Rabbi Abby Sharofsky, Director of Intergroup Relations for the JCRC of Greater Washington. It is an honor to be here this evening celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is also the 50th anniversary of the yahrzeit, or the death, of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. Heschel and King stood together and influenced each other. We talk about them marching together in Selma and the ways they brought Jewish communities and Black communities together, and today I would like to bring one of Rabbi Heschel's teachings. Indifference to evil is more insidious than evil itself. It is more universal, more contagious, more dangerous. A silent justification, it makes possible an evil erupting as an exception, becoming the rule, and then in turn accepted. Our guiding theme tonight is We Are Martin. That's quite a high standard when you first think about it. Being someone who changed the world, but that doesn't happen overnight. Dr. King started somewhere small, conversations, meetings, sermons, and his belief deep down that this nation could be a place of freedom and justice for all. And it caught on, and it grew. And he didn't do this work alone, and the ripples of his work and his courage continue to touch us all. We are in a difficult time. Indifference was not an option for Dr. King and Rabbi Heschel, and it cannot be for us. Dr. King said, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase." Many of us get stuck on those first steps. Who will listen to us? Who will stand with us? How will these, sorry, my phone went off. Who will listen to us? Who will stand with us? How will these conversations ever make a big difference? It would be easier to be indifferent, but we simply cannot. Not now and not ever. We are Martin when we speak our minds and teach others. We are Martin when we stand up to hate and injustice, courageously challenging the status quo on any level. We are Martin when we show up together, work together, and do our best together to change this world. Thank you.
I greet you all with the universal salutation of a Muslim by saying in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May the peace and blessings of God be upon each and every one of you here this evening. Almighty Allah, the God of Abraham, the God of Moses, the God of Jesus, and the God of Muhammad on whom be peace. Ruler of the universe, we believe in him and glorify his name and seek his aid in all affairs of our life as we observe the anniversary of our noble leader, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. We give thanks for a shared commitment to diversity and collaboration across faiths, cultures, and gender. We give thanks for a commitment to leadership that empowers others in a positive ways. And we give thanks to a commitment to communities that work for the good and well-being of society. We offer gratitude for the individuals in this room who live by the words of Dr. King and lead with integrity, courage, discipline, and humility. And for those who more with creativity, perseverance, justice, forgiveness, and love of our world. We especially lift up those who are not able to be with us, those who may have struggled even now under the burden of oppression and injustice, and those who daily live in despair. We pray for their help and for inspiration and initiative in bringing aid. We pray for a renewal of hope in these dark places. We lift up those in our state and our country who hold power, and we pray that this energy may be used to build up the spirit of others and bring forth lives in our community. We pray that we in this room would in all respect be models of good works, and that in our teachings we may show integrity, dignity, and speech that cannot be condemned. We pray that we would emulate generosity, morality, uprightness, gentleness, self-control, tolerance, mercy, and forbearance as we lead our families and our communities. This is what our dear leader would have wanted. I pray that we all will hold fast all together and be not divided. We would unite our hearts in love so that by His grace we can become true brothers and sisters in faith and goodwill. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Can you hear me? Come on, can you hear me? Can you see me? I can see and hear you too. I want to talk to you for a moment about the gift of peace and unity. In the context of unity and oneness of mind, my can you hear me, see you question transmitted to your collective yes, we can response. Our collective response unified us. Without unity, we can't have peace. For unity is one component of peace. I'm going to need you to participate with me. Friends, we are in concerning times. These thoughts and feelings of concern are legitimized due to the alleged backdoor deals to win positions in our 118th Congress, due to identity revelations of New York State representatives, due to alleged actions and document discoveries of former and current administrations, due to our economy, due to reversal of having the right to choose, due to gun control, due to school safety, due to inequities, and due to inequalities. We are Martin, and we must not fall apart now. Holy Scripture says, wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. Having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. For you see, friends, unity is the glue component to peace. Unity is the glue component to peace. Dr. King had a dream, and when he awoke from that dream, it played out as a nightmare. We are Martin, and we must not fall apart. Let me close with this parable. An individual chartered a fishing vessel. The skipper's name was Captain Peace Unity. Captain Peace sailed into prosperous waters. This individual separated themselves from the collective and was intoxicated with divisive extremism. And their intoxicating intolerance of the collective caused them to fall overboard. Can everyone just shout peace and unity? Let me hear you, peace and unity. Yes, we are Martin. We must not fall apart. This individual began to kick and scream that I cannot swim. Captain Peace maneuvered the vessel and pulled the individual by the hand out of the water, and his arm came off. The individual still kicking and screaming, and by this time he was upside down in his own intolerance. And the only thing that the captain could see was his leg. So Captain Unity maneuvered the vessel and grabbed the individual by the ankle, pulled him out of the water, and his leg came off. Still shouting, still screaming, help me, I can't swim. Captain Peace Unity maneuvered the vessel right to where this individual was, leaned over and said, I'm here to help you, but every time I go to help you, you keep falling apart. Let's stay together. We are Martin. Don't fall apart. Keep the dream alive. Keep the dream alive.
Hello, Montgomery County. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate you here today, and we hope that you get the spirit of what we're trying to pull together for you this afternoon by way of this program, and to see we're bringing in their energy, but also the diversity of this community as well. And so I want to thank the clergy persons who came before. Let's give them another round of applause for their statements of peace. You've heard over and over again that our theme is We Are Martin. This afternoon, we're going to focus on a few of the many attributes of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. With King, I should say, whether he was talking to kings and queens or prime ministers or presidents, to the simple man or the great, the rich or the poor, the message was always the same: service, faith, fairness, dignity, and brotherhood. We believe such positive attributes are alive and well in all of us. Now, my friends, you do not have to be someone who has a famous name or a name that sounds familiar. You just need the desire to serve and contribute to our great community. So this afternoon, we're going to explore how Dr. King's attributes, determination, faithfulness, compassion, courage, and persistence. And along the way, we're going to note for you some of our own members of this community who also live those lives, the ones that we live with, people that we work with. They possess these same qualities, and I suspect so do you. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, I want to bring to you to the stage, and it's my great pleasure and honor to do so, the County Executive of Montgomery County and the President of Montgomery County Council to offer their words of welcome, Mark Elrich and Evan Glass. We are Martin.
So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Montgomery County's 29th Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. observance and celebration. And this special program has been hosted each year by the County Executive, and I'm proud to continue the tradition as I enter into my second term as County Executive. I want to thank the program participants, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Planning Committee, the Music Center at Strathmore, all the various county departments that have assisted in this event, and of course all of you for coming out here this afternoon. This year's theme is We Are Martin. And all of you will hear it throughout the program, statements about Dr. King's important role in the civil rights movement and his leadership in working to convince people that we share a common vision and destiny in an America where the best words of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were intended as guideposts for what all of us should be able to experience in our lives. His drive to make the dreams of freedom real should be acknowledged and celebrated, and that is why we gather here every year at this time. I'm especially pleased with the theme, We Are Martin, because it moves the accomplishments of Dr. King to the expectations that we hold for all of us. We all have something to contribute to making our community better, and I pledge to continue to explore ways to ensure the voices, values, and talents of all our residents will be given due consideration as we make important decisions in governing our diverse county. When King spoke, he talked about 100 years between the end of slavery and the 1960s. Growing up in that time as I did, it was nothing less than ludicrous, or so it appeared to me at the time, that Black Americans were still treated as second-class citizens and routinely deprived of their rights, opportunities, and even their lives. 100 years seems like an eternity, and those of us who are not Black are left to ponder, if we dare, what life would be like and feel like to always be defined as the other or the outsider. And it seemed for a moment, in that moment, that something had awakened that would draw this chapter of our history to its long overdue conclusion. But here we are now, 60 years later, and the walls and barriers to opportunities still stand. The tools today may be more subtle, but one need only look at every single social indicator of success and still see that the Black community in Montgomery County remains at the bottom. Other populations have come to this county fleeing poverty, lack of education, and oppression, yet they have all been able to leapfrog the Black community in what we consider to be social determinants of well-being. It tells us all we need to know, that the work to undo the damage of 4 centuries is not complete. That is why there is urgency in the concept of We Are Martin. It will require the efforts of tens of thousands of Martins to work to remove the obstacles and barriers that continue to exist. The work that people will do on this day of service is badly needed. And I know that many of you are devoted to service in the work that you do every day. And I thank you. But I hope that all of us can look deeply into the work and events that occur every day, that we just don't look at things that we do to lift people up, but that we start looking and have the courage to look at things that keep people down, and then summon the further courage to demand that those things change. Martin, after all, didn't focus his attention on the tragic manifestations of our social ills. He called out the social ills and called on us to address those ills. We need to be Martin in what we give to people who need help, and we should be Martin in addressing the causes of why people need help. You will also hear names of local members of our community today who've had and continue to exemplify attributes of determination, faith, courage, compassion, and perseverance, which have made our county a progressive and inclusive community. These special people are a few examples of our residents who every day work to improve the lives of our community. The central theme connecting all of them to Dr. King is their shared focus to serve, and in so doing, we learned the new definition of greatness as espoused by Dr. King. Today, you'll be informed, entertained, and inspired. You will also receive a charge for your individual involvement to make Montgomery County the best place in America for inclusion, equity, and opportunity. Who is Martin? We can all be Martin because we can serve and share our gifts for the uplift of our community. And we can be introspective about those aspects of our society that create so many people who need to be uplifted. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm joined this afternoon by Council President Devin Glass, who will add to this conversation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor to be with all of you today. And as president of the council, I am so excited to be starting off this new term with the most diverse council we have ever had here in Montgomery County. Applaud that, yes. Recognizing that our diversity is our strength, and as the first openly LGBTQ+ member of the council, it is my moral obligation to make sure that we move forward together, that we continue celebrating our diversity, and make sure there is equity for everyone in our community. Now, Montgomery County is one of the most diverse places in the United States, and we celebrate and welcome that every single day. And we need to make sure that all of our residents have the sense of inclusion and connection, not alienation, when they travel around our beautiful, diverse community. And this year's theme for this event is We Are Martin. And that means that we all share some of Dr. King's characteristics: determination, faith, courage, compassion, and persistence. And it also means that in the absence of Martin, we must all work to be Martin. Now, I spent my day, as many of you did today as well, participating in service events all throughout our community. Today is a celebrated holiday. It is actually the only holiday where we celebrate service. But for those of you who volunteered today, you chose to make it a day on as opposed to a day off. And in doing so, you are Martin. And King had a deep commitment to service, and today is the only federally recognized holiday designated to service, and we encourage all Americans and all members of our community to improve their communities. And on February 4th, 1968, Dr. King preached the drum major instinct and told his congregation that at his funeral he would have liked it to be said, "If you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for peace. Say that I was a drum major for righteousness, and all other shallow things will not matter." And so on this MLK Day, let's make sure we all go forward as drum majors for peace, justice, righteousness, service, and fight against the injustices that we see all around us. We see the rise of hate crimes in our own community and growing within our society. But we have to ask ourselves, what would Martin do? And so Dr. King had inspired millions of people during his life and thereafter, but now it is our turn. If we want Montgomery County to be a place where everyone is welcome, heard, safe, and seen for being their true and authentic selves, then we must continue working toward Dr. King's vision, because together we are Martin. Thank you.
I am Martin, resilient.
I am Martin, determined to make a difference.
I am Martin,
Brave. I am Martin,
a trailblazer, future world changer. I am Martin, compassionate, devoted, courageous, unbreakable. Martin, 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 Martin.
We are Martin.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Now we're engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on the great battlefield of that war.
We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that this nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot concentrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract.
Nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here, see unfinished work which they who have fought here have thus far so nobly advanced.
It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they took the last full measure of devotion.
So here we highly resolve that these men shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. And government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the M. Sparks Matsunuga Elementary School Chorus under the direction of Stephen E. Sini. And now, welcome Montgomery County Council Vice President, Andrew Friedson.
Good afternoon and happy MLK Day. The definition of determination is firm or fixed intention to achieve a desired end. Dr. King was always determined to achieve his goals and aspirations, no matter how difficult they may have seemed. He once said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving. Your ability to overcome unfavorable situations will provide you with time to demonstrate your true strength and determination for success. Local Montgomery County foot soldier Arthur Williams is a man of great determination who has spent a lifetime determined that fairness and equality in public education be available to all black children in our county. And along with Arvid Jackson, he worked to see that there was progress in reducing healthcare disparities through the founding of the African American Health Initiative, now known as the African American Health Program. And Ruby Rubens, Sylvia Rodriguez, Russell Campbell Sr., Sterling King Jr., and Odessa Shannon worked in fair housing and anti-discrimination laws. My former colleague, Councilmember Craig Rice, his efforts brought a hospital and medical care to the Up County in his work. Community activists Anita Neal Powell, Byron Johns, Diego Uraburu, Vernon Ricks, Warren Fleming, Charlotte Coalfield, and Linda Plummer continued in those efforts, and these are just to name a few of the pioneers in our county. All of them similar to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., displaying determination and grit. And for that, we are deeply, deeply thankful. As a tribute to our county's determined citizens and leaders, we have with us the Akhmedova Ballet Studio Company dancers who will perform a contemporary original piece about determination and perseverance. It's titled Resolute. Let's hear it for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, Councilmember Will Giwando.
One more round of applause. Wasn't that awesome? Good afternoon, everybody. I am Councilmember Will Giwando, and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is a great day in Montgomery County. Dr. King was many things to many people. He was a leader, an educator, a father, a husband, and a friend. But at his foundation and at his core, he was a man of God and a man of deep faith. Now, faith in the Bible, it tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You had to have faith to believe that a world that looked completely different from what was before you could be different, and that there could be equality and freedom and justice. Dr. King had faith. Because of his love for God and his faith, he fought for justice. He fought for fairness and peace. One can easily find his dedication to God in his speeches when he said, and I quote, "A positive religious faith does not offer an illusion that we shall be exempt from pain and suffering. Rather, it instills in us the inner equilibrium needed to face strains, burdens, and fears that will inevitably come." Tonight, we would like to honor the many churches, synagogues, mosques, and other places of worship in Montgomery County that serve our residents and help maintain our faith in a better future. As a tribute to Dr. King and his devotion to his Christian faith, please welcome Indigo Creative Works, presenting national recording artist Tamika Moore and featuring Lorraine K. Sly, Burl Binion, and Dwayne Moody, performing a melody of gospel songs from Dr. King's favorite singers during the Civil Rights era. Please welcome them now.
Sometimes you ask God for something and you don't know what you're asking of him. God can make you anything you want to be, but you must put everything in his hands. God made Dr. King a leader. Dr. King had a deep respect for gospel music as an instrument of change, specifically for the upliftment of the Negro community, and especially during the height of the civil rights movement. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountains that Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountains that Jesus Christ was born. Can I say that one more time? Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. Go tell it on mountains
mountains that Jesus Christ is born.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it. Go tell it. Go tell it. Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it. Go tell it. Go tell it. Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it. Go tell it. Go tell it. Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it. Go tell it. Go tell it. Jesus Christ is born.
The next song was Dr. King's personal favorite. Oftentimes, he invited the Queen of Gospel, Mahalia Jackson, to sing the song at civil rights rallies to inspire crowds. At his request, she sang it at his funeral in April of 1968.
Sing, Lori.
When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call. Hold my hand, Lord, lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home, precious Lord.
The Negro community sang this cornerstone spiritual as a way of expressing unity as they fought for equal rights and freedom. It's famously tied to another civil rights icon, Fannie Lou Hamer. Who? That's right, give it up for her, that's right. Who, while being detained by police on her way back from attempting to register to vote with other members of her community, began singing this song. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with us in this first verse of This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I don't hear you. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Dr. King's abiding belief in God and that the power of gospel music could soothe hearts and speak to the needs of the people during the civil rights movement, while fulfilling his prophecy to move the world toward a higher and more loving world through enduring Negro spirituals. Y'all might know this. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. While I'm on this just journey, Lord. I want Jesus to walk with me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hold my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. On this just journey, Lord. Oh, I want Jesus to walk with me. Hey, I want Jesus to with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Council Member Sidney Katz.
Good evening. Dr. King always showed compassion for those who were suffering. He once said, "True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars' needs restructuring. Montgomery County is very fortunate to house many great nonprofits that exemplify the true meaning of compassion. We would like to take this time to thank the Red Cross, Salvation Army, Interfaith Works, A Wider Circle, Shepherd's Table, Inc., Women Who Care, to name just a few. Also, thank you for donating to our Fill the Truck Drive. To celebrate the work of our county's nonprofits, here is a spoken word performance by NAACP ACT-SO artist Daniela Gunyo, followed by the Jeremy Winston Choral performing His Light Still Shines and Great is Thy Faithfulness.
In order to kill a king, you must do this one simple thing. Wait until he stands outside the balcony of his second-story hotel room, take a Remington .3006 hunting rifle, put your hand on the trigger, change your body stance, shut one eye, deep breath in and out, and when you release, let the bullets fly. Just like that, you would have taken a life. Wait, hold on. Maybe my math is incorrect because the man with a bullet wound to his head still carries his breath. Death was supposed to come knocking. So why is this king up and walking? Is he mocking me? When I picked up this pistol and decided to play God, I promised to rid the white world of a problem named Martin. But now he is undead, he is an alien, he has become a Martian. I now serve time for a crime that I did not commit, because while his body is 6 feet under, Martin Luther King still lives. His legacy lets us see that every word he spoke was filled with such authenticity. Ironically, when we discuss Black history, we pick and choose the stories we tell. We talk bloodshed and how God's beautiful people fell. We talk assassination and the harsh reality of segregation, when instead we should be separating the people from their pain. King dreamed of the day where we can judge based on character and not color, when our little sisters and baby brothers can grow up with people who don't look like them and still share a close bond. They can still be friends. We can all sit here and pretend that problems and perception don't exist, when the reality is the statement, I don't see color, must be dismissed, because it is the paint on the brush that gives life to the canvas. You are a masterpiece who must masterpiece while acknowledging the master. Please remember that we were all made in such a meticulous way, each with distinct features, everyone here with a beautiful face. And while we may not all look the same, it does not change the fact that we bleed the same blood. We still feel happiness, anger, betrayal. We still all desperately need love. You shouldn't have to see past my color to see me. You shouldn't have to use the pain of my past to define me. I ask that you kindly view me in my entirety. I shouldn't have to work twice as hard for half of what they have. It's quite scandalous. I shouldn't have to question whether my justice system is just a system. It makes me quite sad. But then I remember that although my future is black, it is not dark. I remember the sacrifices of Rosa and of Martin, who fought with all of their hearts. So yes, I acknowledge that it is hard to be black, to be a woman, to be resilient, but that fact pushes me to be brilliant, to stand up when they say stand down, to speak out when they say don't make a sound. I have no enemies. Everyone is a friend of me because I know a king who reminded me that I must continue to choose love because hate is too great a burden to bear. Let us all march together. Let us walk until we are there, until our children can grow up and get good jobs regardless of their hair. While we still have much progress to make, let us celebrate our accomplishments and look hatred in its face and say that anger will never consume my soul. I march, I walk, I move forward because I have hope. Martin Luther King had a dream that one day the sons of slave owners and the sons of slaves would dine together at a table one day. So let us be those to lay the tablecloth. Let us be those to buy the plates. Let everyone in here pull out a chair. Let us share a meal regardless of our race. His legacy still lives. His words still inspire. The truth is, it is impossible to kill a king. 55 years later, and the nation still sing, free at last, free at last. Thank the good God Almighty that we are free at last. Thank you.
Armed with a faith in God and a belief in the moral power of righteousness, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lit a candle whose flame grew little by little, demonstration by demonstration, and march by march into an illuminating fire of Olympian proportions. His ringing oratorical eloquence frequently employed phrases and images from songs that had been buoyed and bolstered in the spirits of those who came before him. The spirituals had a home in his heart. So it is no accident that Dr. King made his vow unto the Lord and never turned back. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. appeared on the world stage at an hour when the darkness was deep. A young Baptist minister who had studied the nonviolent philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi and taken it to heart, saw in nonviolence resistance the tool needed to move a nation out of the perplexing maze of racial injustice and onto the simple pathway of peace. With this faith, we shall be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. From every mountain, let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring.
Thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not thy compassions. They fail not, as thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Pardon for sin and peace that endureth. Thine own presence to cheer us, to guide, strength for today and right for tomorrow. Blessings on mine, 10,000 beside. All I have needed, my hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning, every morning. I am needed. Thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord,
Ladies and gentlemen, Council Member Gabe Albonos.
Let's give them another round of applause, please. Hello, good people. Courage. In order to stare in the face of hate and adversity, you must have courage. Dr. King, along with civil rights leaders and thousands of brave, everyday people, led the charge. Even though their livelihood and lives were at stake on a daily basis, they still pressed on to make a change in their communities and ultimately the nation. We are so grateful for the activists here in our own community who gave so much of themselves. People like Roscoe Nix, Reverend James and Reverend Dr. Ruby Moon, Dr. William Gibbs, yes, Reverend James McDonald, Edith Throckmorton, Inez Maccabee, Harvey Ziegler, and Betty Skoll, Joyce Siegel, Jackie Simon, Esther Delaplane, and Christina Clark. All were courageous in their efforts, and several of them continue to this day. Let's give them a round of applause. These are community leaders who did not shrink back when it came to doing what was right and what was needed for our county. We are also proud to say that we have a community of activists willing to fight for the rights of all of our residents. We welcome back the Indigo Creative Works LLC and national recording artist Tamika Moore, featuring Lori Sly, Burl Binion, and Dwayne Moody to perform a medley of songs made popular by those brave individuals fighting for freedom at civil rights marches, rallies, and sit-ins. Please enjoy.
Dr. King once said, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." Like many freedom songs of the civil rights era, they empowered the people to no longer be silent, to be fearless and steadfast in their quest for freedom. And so often they marched until their feet bled. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, yes, walking into freedom land. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around, no, turn me around, no, turn me around. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, yes, walking into freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, no, turn me around, no, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking into freedom land. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking into freedom land. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking into freedom land.
Like Dr. King's speeches during the civil rights protest marches,
The words of this next song are based on scripture. And in this case, we are talking about the book of Jeremiah. From the praise and worship in the flatbed trucks traveling across the Jim Crow South
to the Washington Monument, this song gave protesters dignity and hope.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. That's all right. We shall not be moved. Come on, join, sing with us. We shall not be moved. We shall not, I see it. We shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Doesn't that take you back to the old times?
Yes, Lord. Now, Dr. King's teachings always reminded us to keep our eyes on the prize and not allow the ugliness of racism, bigotry, or prejudice of any kind to put our dreams to sleep. Paul and Silas, bound in jail, had no money for to go their bail. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Paul and Silas began to shout, doors popped open and they ran out. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on, hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on.
Well, the only thing we did wrong, stayed in the wilderness a day too long. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on.
Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on, keep your eyes
Dr. King considered this Curtis Mayfield and Impression song the unofficial anthem of the civil rights movement. There's a reason Dr. King so often turned to Mayfield's message of deliverance with its promise of a train a-comin' to motivate us. This protest anthem made you believe the train was bound for a better life for Negro Americans.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming.
You don't need no baggage to get on board.
All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming.
You don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord.
That's all right.
People get ready. There's a train to Jordan, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open up the doors and board them. There's hope for us all among those who love the most. Hey.
There's a train a-coming.
You don't need no baggage, just get on board.
All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming.
You don't need no ticket, thank the Lord.
You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you enjoying the program? Perseverance is our last word. Our present urgent necessity is to cease our internal fighting and turn outward to the real enemy: poverty, racism, hatred, ignorance, and a mountain of isms that impact us all. We must use every form of mass action yet known and create new forms and resolve to never let them rest. This is a social lever which will force open the door to true freedom for everyone. Our most powerful weapons are our voices, our feet, and bodies dedicated, united people moving without rest toward a just goal. Persistence without fainting, so says Dr. King. And my friends, I cannot think of a more appropriate illustration of Dr. King's words of perseverance than that of our next presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so very, very proud to introduce our newest county council members: Marilyn Balcom, Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, Dawn Lukin, Lori Ann Sales, and Kate Stewart. Oh, come on now, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. I know the afternoon's been long, but I've asked each of them real quickly, between 1 and 2 minutes, to kind of share with us what are the attributes of Dr. King most resonates with them, and how might they take that gift, that power, to serve those of us here in Montgomery County. So each in turn will share with you that attribute that resonated with them. Let me hasten to say that one of our council members, Kristen Mink, could not be with us. She sends her regrets. She unfortunately has COVID. And so let's keep her in our thoughts and our prayers, okay? She and her family. But they're here to share. And Marilyn, start us off, please, ma'am. Councilmember Marilyn Balcom. Please, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this afternoon to share this great day of service in celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King's many contributions. I'm Marilyn Balcom. I represent District 2, which is the northwest corner of Montgomery County. It's been a great day so far as our colleagues have crisscrossed around the county to meet so many of our nonprofits that are doing such wonderful things in our community. In keeping with the theme this year, I'd like to focus on courage. There's no doubt that Dr. King's courage, his courage to speak, his courage to act, and his courage to dream, his words and actions helped to heal a nation in a very troubled time. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in troubled times once again. Our nation is divided. People have stopped listening to one another, and many are more concerned about being right than learning the truth. And sadly, we have seen hateful words and actions creep into our community. Dr. King once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." That's where we come in, everyone in this room. We need to set the example. As active, engaged community leaders, we need the courage to speak our truth, especially in the face of opposition. We need the courage to stand up for what we believe in. We need courage to stand up to hate whenever we see it. We need to be the light, and we need to show the love, and we need to shout from the rooftops that hate has no home here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, representing District 6. I was thinking, when was the first time I heard of Dr. Martin Luther King? I am the only immigrant on the county council right now, and let me tell you, the answer is that it was not when I arrived to the United States. It's when I was in middle school in South America when I learned about the amazing life of Dr. Martin Luther King. See, when I was taking world history class back when I was in middle school, it wasn't just about, the bad actions of the United States around the world, financing wars on the Western Hemisphere, in Latin America, but also about those great role models, those heroes in our Western Hemisphere. So when I think of Dr. Martin Luther King, I also think of Simón Bolívar, who's like the father of South America, and what they have in common. And one thing that they do have in common is dedication. If you really want to fight justice and make a world a better place, you need to dedicate yourselves, create alliances. And I think he's a great example of that. And thank you so much for the opportunity and for all of us for being here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Dawn Ludke, and I represent District 7. Today is a day of remembrance, revisiting the past and refueling the soul to continue doing the work for a better future. My colleagues have already started speaking about some of Dr. King's qualities, and I know you've been going through them this afternoon, and I'm here to talk to you about the importance of persistence. Persistence, that firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. As Dr. King noted, change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. Fear and intimidation are still a powerful and unsettling presence in our world. The question is what we each choose to do in the face of that. and how we lean on each other and embrace the struggles and wisdoms of the past to continue pushing for change, for peace, for hope, and for love. We're all human, and in the very nature of being human, we all have our daily personal struggles, as did Dr. King. And yet, as I look out at all of you, I know each of you in your own way push through those struggles because the greater good is at stake, and we cannot lose that indefatigable drive for the betterment of all. Literature and the arts, along with my faith, give me inspiration when I need it, and they are disciplines filled with the power to affect change through nourishment of the soul. They inspire passion and remind us of passion's role in persistence. I had the privilege of getting to know the work of St. Louis artist Adrienne Danrich, an opera singer, poet, creator, storyteller, an overall outstanding human, this fall through a civic practice project in Baltimore City with Opera Baltimore. And I want to leave you with a poem that she used as a part of that project, a reminder to each of us as individuals of our contributions to the whole so that we too may persist for the greater good. Passion is power. There is power in passion, the passion of a dream, the passion to be bold and to speak out, the passion to be free to be. There is power in passion, that tiny spark that won't blow out, no matter how the winds batter it. Love is power. There is power in love. Love for humanity, love for peace, my love for you gathered here. There is power in love, that burning flame that won't be tamed, no matter how the barriers attempt to bar it. We are power. There is power in our we. Each has a spark, each has a flame. Put them together and we're unstoppable. United we stand, we shall not fall, no matter the forces that attack our spark, our flame, our power. There is power in we. Thank you.
Good evening and happy Martin Luther King Day to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us and for staying to hear about all of the ways that we think that Dr. Martin Luther King has impacted our lives. So my word that I chose when I think about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King is resilience. I'm the daughter of 2 Jamaican immigrants. I recently ran for Montgomery County Council at large. So it takes a lot of endurance and resilience to run a campaign, but the joys of now serving this incredible county are immense. So when I think of Martin Luther King, the main word is resilience. Black people have been through hell and back, through slavery and segregation, through housing, medical, and all forms of institutional racism, and through the election of Donald Trump and the racial backlash that he inspired. Yet I stand proud here today representing my Jamaican heritage and African American ancestors to let our county know that the legacy of Martin Luther King is alive and well. I believe that resilience is the perfect word to sum up this day, as it is something that Dr. King embodied with every ounce of his human spirit and soul. He knew it was likely that Black liberation would not be achieved in his lifetime. Nevertheless, he persisted because he knew that one day, one glorious day, we would live in a nation that judges people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. As the first Black woman to ever represent the Montgomery County Council at large, I know I would not have had this opportunity without Dr. King and his vision for the American dream. We must pay tribute to his legacy today and every day. by continuing his struggle to abolish racial discrimination in all areas of contemporary society and pave the path for the next generation to live and prosper in a world free of hate, violence, and suffering. Finally, I will leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. King. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Despite all the odds, we are still here, we are still thriving in this county, and I salute Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King for helping us keep his legacy alive. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kate Stewart, and I'm the council member representing District 4. You are in District 4 right now. It covers North Bethesda, Kensington, Garrett Park, Tacoma Park, and parts of Silver Spring. I want to first thank the Office of the Human Rights for inviting us and bringing us all together today. And I want to say that looking out across Montgomery County today, we really did heed the words that Martin Luther King Day is a day to be on, not off. So I think you should all give yourselves a round of applause. So Dr. King left us with so many lessons and wonderful writings and speeches. And today, I want to talk about compassion. And a quote from Dr. King. He said, "True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring." So not only is important what Dr. King was telling us to walk in another's shoes and be an advocate for those who are in need, but this quote speaks to the truth that inequitably built systems and bias produce the harms our neighbors suffer. And to heed Dr. King's words, we must understand that to be compassionate means that we see people and situations holistically, and we acknowledge and work to change the systems, in Dr. King's words, the edifice. And that edifice refers to the systems that have been created to serve some at the expense of others. And it is an ugly and sadly historic truth of our American society. Compassion and the act of charity is important to meet people's immediate needs. But we must also consider and challenge the consciously built systems that result in economic injustice, educational injustice, housing injustice, public safety injustice, legal injustice. Because without that second step, without challenging systems, the edifice, our compassion is incomplete. The institutionalized racism in our built systems results in injustices and disparities and drive the need for charity. So justice and compassion are intrinsically linked. And we must use compassion as a radical tool to push back on the historic systems of government to create peace and justice for all. Thank you. And today, you did that, Montgomery County, by being on, by working today for compassion and justice. And we will continue to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Sene, thank you. Parents of these fine young people from M. Sparks, Massagunder Elementary School, where are you? Thank you so much for your children coming out. Thank you, parents. And to all of our young people, thank every single one of you for being who you are. Because not only are you our future, you are our present. So, determination, faith, compassion, courage, and perseverance. A few of the many attributes of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but we must submit to you tonight. We must submit to you tonight that we all have these same qualities. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. The only question, my friends, my neighbors, and my coworkers, and all of you who make up our great community, the only question we have is, are we willing to use our gifts to make Montgomery County a better place? We can do this. We can make Montgomery County the best place for all of our residents, every single one, to live and work and raise a family. For you see, it is our way. It is the Montgomery County way. For you all see this very clearly now, I hope. We are all Martin. We are all Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to just add my thank yous to so many people who made this program possible today. There's so many of them. You have your program, but I must acknowledge a couple of those people real quickly because I'm going to get this choir singing. You know what I'm going to do, Mr. Zimmy? I'm going to let you go ahead and sing first. Let me come back at the end. Let's do that.
Maybe we're not the same color. Maybe we're not the same race. Maybe we don't have the same beliefs or live in the same kind of place. Maybe we think we're too different. Maybe that's simply not true. Maybe I also have hopes and dreams, and maybe I share them with you. We are one nation, yes, we are one land. Together in freedom, united we stand. Oh, we are one nation, yes, we are one land. Together in freedom, united we stand. Oh.
Okay, okay. Okay. Friends, we can do better than that, I believe. These young people, wonderful song. Mr. Sinek, thank you so much for singing. Okay, you've been sitting a long time, and we'll get you up right now because we'll get ready to end our program with our traditional song. Is that right, Mr. Sinek? That is right. Okay, good enough then. It is Happy Birthday. Please join us in singing as they come out. Let me give some thank yous really, really quick. So folks, come on out. All of you involved in the program, come on out on the stage right now and join us in the singing of Happy Birthday, Dr. King. Selena Singleton, come on out, Selena. She was our narrator. Come on out, Selena. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't do this program without our producer, Kimberly Hodges. Come on out, Kimberly. Take a bow, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we had every single one of our council members who participated in this program. Let's give them a round of applause. You heard him say in his remarks, he is the sponsor of this program. Let's give a round of applause again for our county executive, Mark Elrich. All of our wonderful performers, Strathmore and the team of Strathmore, we can't do this without you. Thank you, Strathmore. All of you, thank you so much. Montgomery Community Media, thank you again, Chad. Thank you so much for your team of folks. Really appreciate it so much, all that you do. I think we're ready now. I think I've thanked everybody I believe that I need to thank at this point in time. All right then, let's now join in singing Happy Birthday, Dr. King. Brother Jeremy, let's go. Come on, everybody. Get on up, everybody. Come on, get to your feet. Come on, everybody.
You know, it doesn't make much sense. There ought to be a law against anyone who takes offense at a day in your celebration, 'cause we all know in our minds that there ought to be a time that we can set aside to show just how much we love you. And I'm sure you would agree, what could fit more perfectly than to have a world party on the day you came to be.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Good night, everybody. Happy birthday. Thank you so much.